everyone. So today we are going to talk about frugal living and the importance of frugal living when it comes to relocation and repatriation. Now, frugal living, budgeting your lifestyle is very important because you need to save money not only before you move so that you're able to pay for things such as flights, hotels, all of that, but also you will need savings once you reach your new destination so that you're able to survive for a sustained period of time. So, frugal living is something that you really need to incorporate. It's a lifestyle that you need to take on. And I'm going to give you some tips that I already do in my daily life. Hopefully, that would be helpful to you. And I'm very interested also to hear if there are any tips I haven't mentioned that you already incorporate in your life. Please comment below and let me know. I'd be very happy to learn some new things as well. All right. So the first thing is downsizing. All right. So unfortunately, our culture as a society, we are trained to want bigger things. The bigger, the better, right? This is not the best way to live, especially if you're trying to save money, right? So I would say downsizing is so important, not only because it's going to save you money with your finances, whether it's your mortgage or your rent, but also it's going to save you money with your electrics, your utilities, I should say, your electric, your gas. All of that will be saved if you're in a smaller space, okay? I lived in the US. I was staying in a space that was under 700 square feet. Very, very tiny space. I did not entertain in there. Of course, my family members would stop by every now and then, but this was not a place where I would have people over to come and entertain and to host. No, it was way too small for that. So you have to you have to make sacrifices, of course, when you're living in a small space, but it wasn't a big deal. If I wanted to meet up with friends and family, I would either go to their space or we would meet at a restaurant, a coffee shop, wherever, right? You don't have to buy a larger space just simply for entertainment purposes. That does not make sense financially, right? So I would say downsizing can come in many forms, okay? So you can either be in a small space, which is how I went about it. Another one I would definitely do is a tiny house. If I was still in the US, I would definitely jump on that tiny house movement. I think it's wonderful. Not only is it sustainable economically, but it's also sustainable for the environment. There are so many benefits with a tiny house lifestyle. So I would definitely look into that if you are looking to downsize. Or you can look to move in with friends or family. Of course, if you are able to get along very well with them, that could be an option because then you could either split the rent or you can split the mortgage and both parties are saving money at the end of the month. So downsizing is definitely something that you should incorporate into your lifestyle immediately. Now, the next thing I would say is decluttering. So, although I was in a very small space, when I had to pack up all my things to move over here to Africa, I realized that I really had an excess of items that I didn't need. And I didn't think I had so many things. You don't realize how many things you have until you actually go through and you declutter, right? So, I literally, and I kid you not, I gave away probably 15 trash bags, full trash bags of clothing. And I'm not even a heavy spender like that. I didn't realize I had that much clothes. It was clothes and shoes. And probably it was about 15 bags that I donated and I gave away to people that were in need. And I was frankly embarrassed that I had that many items. But decluttering will not only help you because either you can donate, which is what I did, or you can sell your items. A lot of people have a whole side income of selling their items online. You can make a lot of money, especially if you're selling furniture. You can sell furniture, clothes, anything online. And you can use that sort of as another source of income if you do have an excess of items in your house. So decluttering is something that I think is very essential. Now, I would highly recommend on Netflix, there's a series called I think it's Marie Kondo. I watched that series and I think it was very helpful to actually go through the steps that she recommends when you're considering decluttering, because it will help you make sense of what you're actually using and what you're not using. What is bringing happiness to your life? What isn't? And it will help you become very clear on what you need to keep and what you can actually sell or give away. So I would highly recommend that series. Now, the next thing you want to do is cook all of your food at home, okay? I think over the last year in 2020, hopefully we all know how to cook food much better because we really didn't have an option, right? But I would say cooking food, even as restaurants are now reopening, the coffee shops are now reopening, do not go back into your old habits of just going out to eat, ordering takeout, all of that. You need to stick with cooking at home because that is saving you so much money, okay? Now, what I would highly recommend is subscribing to a weekly or however often you would like it to be. It could be weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly service where they deliver fresh produce to your house, okay? When I was in the US, I had Misfits Market, which was a great weekly service where it was organic fruits and vegetables that they would just put in a box. You would choose which ones you would like for the week. And it literally was $25 a month. With shipping, I think it was maybe $28. And then you can add on some shelf stable items such as some canned goods, some peanut butter, any of these shelf stable items. You can pay additional for that and they would include it in the box. So literally this saved me so much money because now not only do I not have to waste money on gas going to and from the grocery store, but I am now able to get all these organic fruits and vegetables at such a cheap price, $25 a week. I mean, you cannot go to Whole Foods and get that. I mean, $25, you're getting like maybe 4 or 5 items at Whole Foods, if that. So definitely you want to look into those services. Now, not the services where it's a meal kit, because those meal kit services are very expensive. Not those, but only the services like Misfits Market, I think Imperfect Produce or things like that, where they are rescuing produce that the grocery stores are rejecting because there's some sort of malformation on the fruits or vegetables that makes the grocery stores reject them. So only look at those because those are very cheaply priced and it's very healthy for you. So definitely look into that. Now, drink only water. I highly recommend, first of all, do not buy any bottled water. That's very expensive. Get you a filter, a Brita filter. There's a million other filters out there right now. Get you a filter that you can drink only water from, okay? Do not go buy juices, sodas, none of that. Do not buy coffee. If you are a coffee drinker, get your own coffee machine and you can make your own brew at home. You can also make your own teas at home. I'm a heavy tea drinker. Make your own ginger tea, any sorts of tea, just brew everything at home. Do not go waste your money buying those type of things outside, all right? Now, I would also say shopping in bulk stores for your shelf stable items is going to save you a lot of money, all right? In the US, you have a lot of these wonderful stores, Sam's Club, you have Costco, where you can go and stock up on items. Now, this is very important, especially because we're in a pandemic. So you want to go stock up on things like Clorox, bleach. You want to get a whole box of that. Your toilet paper, your paper towels, your any cleaning items. You want to stock up on that and make sure that you have enough in case another shutdown comes and you're not able to get those items. You already have everything you need at home, but you're getting those items at a discount anyway because you're buying it bulk. So shopping bulk is very important. Now, I also would do as many DIYs as you can, okay? So for example, I try to DIY almost as many items as I can, except for I did try to do a DIY for deodorant once. That didn't quite work out well, but I'm going to try it again and we'll see how it goes. But I make my own body cream. I make my own hair products. I make my own body scrubs. You can DIY as many things as you want. YouTube is a plentiful source of information. If you're interested in trying to make something for yourself, just hop onto YouTube and you could look at a million videos on how to do that, right? And then try it. Now, I would say try not to buy anything extra, all right? So when I was in the US, I literally, when I came back from Africa in 2014, I literally didn't have a TV for the next 4 years because, I mean, you don't really need a TV, right? So things that are sort of extra, you can get rid of those. You could watch everything now on your computer. There is literally no need for a TV. Now, I did get a TV a little bit later after the 4 years, but did I need it? No, I could have saved that money and utilized it elsewhere, right? So extra things like TV. I do not buy any new clothes. You can get everything secondhand at a very steep discount. And also, I also like shopping secondhand because it's sustainable for the environment and you can find very unique items in secondhand stores, right? You want to cut out things like gym memberships, try to exercise outdoors. If you're in a cold environment where it's not as conducive, try to buy equipment where you can just exercise at home. And to be frank with you, you don't need equipment. I like to do Zumba on YouTube. When it was wintertime in the US, I would just go on to YouTube and do Zumba. You can do any sorts of indoor exercise activities, ab exercises. I mean, there's a plentiful amount of videos on YouTube for that. So you don't need any equipment. So I would get rid of any gym membership. Anything that's extra, try to get rid of it. All right. Now that includes cable. You want to cut that off and get rid of all subscriptions that you don't need. All right. Things like Hulu, YouTube TV, Netflix, Amazon Prime, all of these subscriptions that you don't necessarily need, you want to get rid of it. Now, for example, I kept Amazon Prime when I was in the US because I like to still utilize the shipping. So I kept that, but I got rid of other things such as Hulu. If you don't need it, you want to cut that off because that's costing you money every month. Now, I would still, if you're still interested in some of the series, like the original content that they have, you want to see if you could share with family members or with friends if you want to continue watching some of those shows. Just reach out to them and see if you can, like I think on Netflix, you can have I think 3 or 4 people on the same account. I'm not sure, but you can easily share accounts if you're still interested in watching certain shows, right? So just look into that. Now, another thing I did was I always tried to unplug every device or electronic that was not in use, especially when I was not in the house, okay? Now, technically, the only device that needs to be continually plugged in is the refrigerator. Everything else can be unplugged. Now, obviously, if the TV isn't in use, I unplug that. If something else isn't in use, like your phone, if you leave your phone plugged in unnecessarily, it's already 100% charged, you need to unplug that. Anything that you can unplug, go ahead and do that because it's costing you money if it's still being plugged in. So I had, for example, a little coffee machine. I made sure every time I was done, I unplug it. My high-speed blender, unplug that. Nothing needs to be plugged in if it's not in use. So just unplug it, right? Now, I was also, because I think I told you before, I lived in Africa for 4 years. And when I came back, I still sort of lived the lifestyle as if I was in Africa. So believe it or not, I never had a dryer. For the last 6 to 7 years, I had no dryer being in the US. So I would wash my clothes and I had one of those racks that I would air dry everything on there. So that's basically what I did. And sorry, somebody's calling me on the phone. But yeah, so I cut out so much energy by not using a dryer. And I would recommend if you can do things like that, if you could live that way. For some people, it's uncomfortable. For people like me, I was totally comfortable with it. Air drying for me was fine. Now, not only is air drying a good example, but the fresh air aspect. So for example, I would bundle up in the winter time and, make sure that I was not overusing the heat. Also in the summertime, I would make sure that I was wearing something very cool like what I have on so that I'm not utilizing too much air conditioning in the summertime. You want to utilize the fresh air as much as possible to save yourself on utilities. So look into things like that. Now, next thing I would say is look at credit cards with rewards, okay? This one is very important. Credit cards have rewards such as cashback rewards, they have travel rewards. So you want to look into things where you can actually get a reward for using or spending your money with a credit card, all right? So for example, some credit cards will only allow you to use travel rewards, which may not be the best thing at this time, obviously, because we're not doing a lot of travel. So you want to make sure your credit card gives you some choices. You can use cash back if you're not able to travel so that you're not stuck with, well, I can't use it and it expires at a certain time. So you want to look at the fine print to see exactly what are the terms and conditions for the rewards, and then choose credit cards that will, reward you for using it, right? Now, next thing I would say is divert your money to a separate savings account whenever you get paid, okay? So if you're getting paid on a bi-monthly basis, a weekly basis, or a monthly basis, you want to make sure that there's a certain amount of money that you are automatically diverting to a savings account that is not going to be touched. You're leaving it alone, okay? If you don't have the discipline to do that, there's a lot of companies that will allow you to set up your HR within your HR system. You can set up a checking account, and then also it will divert your money automatically to a savings account for you so that you don't have to do it. So that may be something that you can look into at your job if you're interested in doing that. Now, I would also recommend avoiding financing assets such as vehicles. So anything that you can avoid financing, you want to do that, okay? If you need to have a car, first of all, you want to save money so that you can buy the car cash and not buy a new car. Try to only buy used cars that will cost you less money, because cars are a depreciating asset. So buying a new car is not going to be the best decision. So I would not only avoid financing, but also try to avoid buying a new car. But financing in general is something that you want to get rid of. So try to avoid that. Now, next thing you want to do is compare car insurance rates to make sure that you're not overpaying. For example, when I looked at my car insurance rate, I was like, this is ridiculous, the amount of money that I'm paying every month. First of all, I'm a good driver. I didn't have anything with my car insurance that rewarded me for being a good driver, for having no accidents, number one. Number two, when I looked at what it covered, it was covering things like roadside assistance, which I didn't necessarily need because I already had AAA. So you want to look to see what exactly it covers and make sure that you're not double paying, because I had AAA, but then I also was paying for roadside assistance with my car insurance, and I don't need to double pay for that. So you want to look at the fine print and make sure you're not overpaying, and negotiate. You want to compare and say, listen, this company says they're going to offer me this rate. Can you match it? And if they can't, then you go with the next company. End of story. Now, next thing, very important, getting rid of debt via the snowball method, okay? Now, I use this in my daily life. I basically would take the smallest amount of debt that I had, and I would pay that off. And then the money that I use for that small amount, you use it to pay off the next level of debt, right? So that it's a snowball method, so that by the time you are at the end, all of your debt is now paid off because you're utilizing the money from the lowest amount now to the next amount. So snowball method has helped me a lot. I highly recommend it. And I think that if you're very disciplined with your snowball method, obviously you need to budget. You have a monthly budget so you know what your expenses are, how much money you have in excess to pay towards the debt, and your budget will guide you with that. And then as soon as the first level of debt, the smallest amount, is paid off, you use that $200 that you were that you were paying every month towards that. You now use it towards the next level of debt. So I highly recommend that. And the last thing I would say is make sure you ask about your 401k match at your job. So most jobs and employers will offer a 401k match. And I'm not sure if your job will do that, but you want to definitely check on that. Same when you're going to ask about if they can divert money into a savings account. Ask your HR representative if there is a 401k match, what are the terms, find out as much information as possible for that. All right. Sorry about the background noise. I wanted to make this a quick video, but hopefully this gave you some ideas as to how you can become a little bit more frugal in your everyday lifestyle. And again, I'm very interested to hear about any additional tips that you already incorporate in your life. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.